Welcome to Cake on Tuesday, where we spotlight the rule breakers, the underdogs who refuse to listen when everyone said it won't work. I'm Elizabeth Bieniuk, and for the next 20 minutes, we're diving into another disruptive innovation story that proves sometimes the craziest ideas change everything. Today's guest is Marques Ogden, a former NFL player who, after retiring from football, started a construction company. After fast initial growth, however, it ended up going bankrupt, causing him to have to take a hard reset and pivot. Marques authentically shares his story of going from 8 figures to $850 an hour and how he had to apply disruptive innovation to his own mindset in order to move forward. Authenticity is a constant theme in talking with Marques. His podcast, Get Authentic with Marques, is globally ranked in the top 0.5%. He's now the author of 5 best-selling books, leads Ogden Ventures, where he speaks, coaches, and advises today's business leaders on how real success doesn't come without adversity. Life isn't about avoiding storms, it's about finding your way through them. Marques, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate you.
I'm very excited to dig into your story here. You have such a fun, disruptive story with a really good outcome. Can you start by telling our audience a little bit about what sets your soul on fire about what you do now?
Elizabeth, what sets my soul on fire, what I absolutely love about my work is being able to help people learn from my mistakes and learn from my story so they don't make the same mistakes that I did. Learning how to push forward through adversity, learning how to be more resilient in the resistance they're going to face in their journey. But at the same time, and the big thing, right, Elizabeth, is really helping people to learn from how my ego got so massive and so large and you couldn't tell me anything. I ended up literally just losing my entire business, all of my money, everything that I owned, and having to leave Baltimore and move to Raleigh, North Carolina, because I was just so egotistical and I was just so arrogant. So what I love about my career is helping people to learn from my mistakes so they don't make the same mistakes that I did.
So you're hitting on something that's really important and really hard for a lot of people, realizing how much is a mindset game. I think a lot of times, especially in the business world, we're like, we got this. I got the logic, I got the numbers, I got the story, I got to back it up. But so much is a mental game. Can you talk a little bit about that process of, obviously you had some hard figures, monetary figures, telling you it's time to really look at making a change. But how do you work with clients when they might think, oh, this is not mindset. And, I got stuff. I got this figured out. How do you help them go through that mental journey?
So that's a great question, Elizabeth. What I do is people who I work with, coach, consult in some degree, they understand my story. They know that I was exactly where they are when they think like, oh, I've got it figured out. I know everything. I know how to have a strong mindset. I know how to pivot. I know how to adjust. And I'm not saying that they don't know that. But what I'm telling them is, hey, I thought the exact same thing in 2012 at the beginning of that year. I thought I had it all figured out. I thought I knew it all. I thought I couldn't learn anything. I couldn't become any better of a leader. And in 2013, I'm bankrupt. I'm broke. I have no company. I have to leave Baltimore and I get to Raleigh with only $400 to my name and $5.5 million of debt that I owed. $5.5 million. So when they hear that story, right, Elizabeth, it gets them to say, okay, hold up a minute. Marques went from a multi-7-figure earning construction company owner, business owner, had lines of credit, had company trucks, had all things he wanted, had a nice home, nice cars, driving a Hummer, all these things. And then the next year, bankrupt, broke, and completely out. It allows people to drop their guard and stop thinking they know everything and actually listen to be able to comprehend what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it definitely helps to see somebody that's gone through that journey. You can't argue with your experience. So for a lot of people, you go through that and you see that crushing debt and it's just overwhelming. And their reaction is, all right, fold, I'm done. For some other people, sometimes that challenge is like, all right, watch this. Now it's the challenge to rise up and step forward. Did you have a moment where you realize, like, this is a defining moment? This could break me or this could inspire me. And what did that look like?
So, Liz, that's a great question. So when I basically moved to Raleigh and I had lost everything, home, cars, all of my money, starting over from rock bottom, from scratch, having nothing, zero, right? What happened is I ended up taking a job as a custodian working in downtown Raleigh for $8.25 an hour. And what happened is on my shift, I hit complete rock bottom when somebody's spoiled milk, rotten trash, funky, protruding, horrible smelling garbage, right, Elizabeth, got all over me. And that was the wake up call. That was the defining moment. I had two choices. One, to stay on the curb, crying my eyes out, hoping and praying somebody, anybody would come and save me. Or I had to make the choice of saying, you know what, Marcus, nobody's coming to save you. If you want to get your life back, it's going to start with you figuring out what you can do and how you can bring value to people and help people get through their struggles, their hardships. So that was the defining moment for me right there, Elizabeth. September of 2013, on that curb, after that spoiled milk, horrible, protruding garbage moment. It was one of two things. And I was either going to get better and get off and get my life back, or it was going to go worse. I was going to stay on the curb, or worse yet, go even further down the rabbit hole and never get my life back. So without a doubt, that was my life-defining, life-changing moment.
Those words that you just said, you realize nobody's coming to save you. I just had a conversation with a business leader last week talking about that exact thing. And he was saying that was the pivotal moment for him too, starting his business. And we got talking about how right now the economy is kind of scary. The workplace situation is kind of scary. If you're a W-2 employee, things are getting shaken up. A lot of people are losing their jobs. And I think that realization of you own your future, you own your destiny, that's really significant and timely right now. How do you, when you're working with clients or when you're speaking, maybe because you're speaking to very broad audiences, how do you help convey that with a sense of hope rather than despair?
So what I try to tell people is that in the moment, right, we have to think about what we're doing now. But I tell people, if where you are isn't where you want to be, the key to our success is focusing on the future. I tell people pain does not last forever. It doesn't. So if you're in a struggling moment, hardship, maybe lost your job, didn't get that contract, listen, I hope and pray you understand that in life, we're going to have those ups and downs. But the ones that bounce back, right, Elizabeth, the ones that move forward are the ones that can focus on the future and not sit in the moment. Even if it's good or bad, you have something good happen, that's great. Keep going. Something bad happens, it's okay. It's not permanent. Keep going. We just spoke at a great insurance company conference called The Road to Summit with our client Trucordia. Phenomenal human beings, great organization. And the theme of their event, right, Elizabeth, was Road to Summit. What is a summit? The highest point of a mountain. Elite status. Stepping out of your comfort zone every single day. And we said in that great conference, when you reach a summit, find a new mountaintop and go for a new summit and repeat. Don't reach a summit and stop because complacency kicks in. So if you're struggling right now, I hope that the inspiration you get from this message is that if it's good or bad, or if you're talking about trying to go through a hardship, the pain that you're in does not last forever. The key is you have to establish a sense of focusing on the future and what you want for yourself through hard work, discipline, and consistency. Once you do that, then at that moment, right, Elizabeth, you go from losing the battle in your mind to winning the battle in your mind.
Hmm. Hmm. All right, I want to ask a question because I use this word twice in your intro. It's in the name of your podcast. You talk about authenticity a lot. What does authenticity mean to you?
It means knowing who you are in the moment, knowing that the moment is going to change. I am no longer a football player. I used to be a football player, but I authentically now am a father. I am a business leader. I am a speaker, a coach, a trainer, a consultant, podcaster, author who used to be a football player. Authenticity is all about recognizing who you are and having the courage and the confidence to be who you are and be the real you. And what I mean by that is be the person that you really know that you like. Because I always tell people, if everybody likes you, but you don't like you, you still lose. So you gotta be that authentic person and like yourself. Because if you don't like you, it doesn't matter if anybody else does because unfortunately, you don't win.
And how that connection and purpose can change through the seasons. I like the fact that you're talking about authenticity through different seasons of life, because just because you are something today doesn't mean that is what you're going to be down the road. You have the potential to change and grow.
Correct.
Yeah. Awesome. So what does success look like for you now? How do you define success?
To me, Elizabeth, success is our clients achieving success and what they want. One of my good friends is Mr. Bob Berg, who is the co-author of the Go Giver series. He wrote that with John David Mann. And the first law is the law of value. Give far more value than you take in payment. And that's a law that I live by. So success for us, right, Elizabeth, is not about what we do. It's not about us getting into an article or having an MSN, media piece. All that stuff is nice and cool, but that's not how I define success. To me, success is defined by our clients winning and them getting, what they want, or winning in their career or winning in their company. That's what success means to me.
I like this idea of paying it forward, paying wisdom forward, paying that experience forward. When you are working with a client and you see that pivotal moment come about, I love stories, examples. I think we learn through stories and examples. Do you have one that you can share about when you had a client that really, that mindset shift occurred, or they realized this is what success is now, or they realized this is the authentic me for myself or my company going forward? What did that look like?
So, for example, one of my clients is a guy named Justin. Justin is a former police officer who's now turned to a speaker. And Justin was struggling with transitioning from a police officer to a speaker. He was still thinking he was a police officer trying to speak instead of saying to people he's a keynote speaker that used to be a police officer. So I worked with him for 3 months. And we worked on his mindset shift. We worked on his identity, knowing who he is, because identity is the foundation of aspirational and inspirational leadership. Aspirational leadership is a leader who can really get themselves fired up, or they can cast a vision. An inspirational leader turns that vision into life or gets other people fired up. So identity, knowing who you are, who you're meant to be, and what you know you're capable of, is absolutely the most important factor going forward, without a doubt. So I always tell people it is key. It is pivotal to know who you are. So Justin is now doing phenomenal. He is speaking. I saw a post of his on Instagram. He's got like 12 speeches live for the rest of the year already, doing great things. I texted him. I said, man, now this is sensational. And he said, Marques, thank you, because you helped me to shift my identity from a police officer who's trying to speak to a keynote speaker who is now a police officer. So I'm sorry, a keynote speaker who used to be a police officer. So he said with that identity shift, right? And in that regard, right? In that regard, Elizabeth, he truly has now tapped in to his best self with his speaking career. So I actually just saw that over the weekend. I was like, wow, this is a client that got it and now is getting after it with his work.
Yeah, love that. So this is Cake on Tuesday. We need to talk a little bit about celebration. So I do want to ask, I mean, you went through a hard journey. You help other people go through a hard journey. You have a team with Ogden Ventures. How do you ensure that you personally or your team, you're celebrating the milestones along the way on these hard journeys?
So Elizabeth, everybody knows when we achieve something great, they have to celebrate that win. If it's a huge, huge thing, have a big celebration. If it's a small thing, have a small celebration. So for example, I'm really, really big on myself with the small celebrations. So if I achieve something, get a new client, close a deal, whatever the case may be, one of my favorite things to do is take myself to the movies. I've been doing that for so long, right? I love it. I love going to the movies, watching a movie, popcorn, soda, just the experience. So that makes me feel like I'm rewarding myself. Now, again, everybody's different, right? If you do something you want to do, it doesn't really matter what that is. As long as you enjoy it, that's all that matters. But I tell people we must take time to celebrate the wins, because if we don't, then what happens is our mind starts to say, well, we're doing all this work. What are we doing it for, right? If we're not enjoying it, if we're not celebrating or doing something, right? What are we doing if we're not? If it's a bigger thing, then I might take myself like a little weekend getaway or to dinner. I mean, this, whatever it is, it doesn't have to be anything large, right? It's just got to be something small. And I feel that it's a very big thing for people going forward.
Yeah. What's your favorite genre? Action, suspense, comedy?
That's a great question. I love some action. Yeah, I grew up in the 80s, so I love my Arnold Schwarzeneggers from the day, or Sylvester Stallone, or Dolph Lundgren, or I love my old action. But I do also like a good, I'll call it a good thriller. I do like a good thriller. I'm excited about seeing. It came out last weekend. It's called Sin Help. So, I'm going out with somebody on Friday. We're going to go see the movie Sin Help. So I kind of twisted her arm and took it and said, we're going to go see that movie. So, cause that's got Rachel McAdams in it. This came out last weekend and it looks good. So I'm like, oh, okay. So it's kind of like a thriller type, misery type movie. Like it's kind of interesting.
Keep you guessing.
Yeah. So I like that. I like that too.
Nice. So what are you most excited about next? What do you, for your company, your venture, what's on the horizon?
That's a great question, Elizabeth. I'm very excited because a longtime friend, right? His name is Nathan Poole. We've known each other for about 3 years. He's been a client of mine for 3 years. We met at a mastermind where I was speaking actually in February of 2023. We just formed a partnership where we're going to start a coaching app where people can pay to get coaching from me, interactive style, very hands-on, high level. Nathan is an expert at content creation, how to strategize, how to build. And what's even more exciting, Elizabeth, he only lives about an hour and a half drive from me. That's it. He lives in Greensboro, North Carolina. I'm in Fuquay, North Carolina. So we're shooting content on Friday for this. And I'm really excited because we're going to really start talking about things around how to grow your speaking business, how to have the right mindset, because sometimes some people can't afford the larger type of ticket items. But we're making this $199 a month, give or take. And with this, it's going to allow people the opportunity to get access to some of my content they wouldn't be able to get access to in a very strategic, strategized way. And so we're very excited about that. We're in the process now of building that. And I really believe, Elizabeth, once that goes live with the type of marketing we're going to do with our podcast, going to people like yours, like your awesome podcast, it'll only help us to reach more people, to change more lives.
Excellent. All right. If people want to find out more about that app, about your speaking, about your coaching, your books, where can they find more?
They can go to our website, www.marques, that's MARQUES, Ogden, OGDEN.com, or you can go to our podcast, Get Authentic with Marques Ogden. We're on YouTube. We have on Apple, or on Spotify, all the majors, or you just shoot me an email, marcus@marcusogden.com.
I can vouch for that. I've been working with Marques since the fall. What you see is what you get. He is authentic. I love that about you, Marques. Thank you so much for joining me on Cake on Tuesday.
Thanks for having me on. You were awesome.
Thanks for joining another Cake on Tuesday celebration of beautiful disruption. Please share it, review it, and find more innovative stories at podcast.cakeontuesday.com. I'm Elizabeth Bienik. Be bold, stay curious. Now go have some cake.